This video will give you 10 tips and tricks for you to become a better player in aviation in the game and get a better overall experience when playing. Now, without further ado, let's start the video, shall we? The first one is taking advantage of the new plane blueprint system. Because before the update, we used to wait 24 hours just to get some blueprints. But now, we can now have more blueprints in a day. I recommend buying the plane blueprints that you like until the price goes up to 300,000 and you can stop buying there. Instead, wait for tomorrow because buying plane blueprints for 300k silver lions is no longer worth it. You can buy how many you like depending on your silver lion situation. The second tip is using the new preset system. The preset system allows us to save planes that we like and be able to change the plane lineup that we have without having to replace the slots one by one. This saves us time. You can even name them to however you like and have multiple presets. The third tip is avoid putting different tiers in your plane slots. The plane with the highest tier that you have will be the deciding factor on how powerful your enemies are in a match. It's best to have your planes in the same tier to avoid fighting planes with higher technological advantages. Because if you don't, your low-tier plane will be fighting against more advanced enemies in terms of technology. An even worse situation you can experience is your highest tier plane getting up tier. The fourth tip is reserving a dedicated slot for your bomber plane. Having a dedicated slot for it means you can dedicate crew points for your crew protection and the accuracy of onboard gunners. This increases the effectiveness of your bombers when getting bullied by fighters and have a better chance in fighting against them and yield better results than normal. The fifth tip is maximizing your aircraft speed. Make your plane even faster by engaging the war emergency power of your plane. This increases the aircraft's engine performance more than normal. To provide more speed, this engine boost usually turns on and off to cool down. Just make sure to always set your throttle more than maximum to take advantage of it. Now, the sixth tip I can teach is turning on the recently added feature called Show Vehicle's Name. This shows the name of the planes that your allies and enemy are using so you can identify what plane you'll be avoiding or targeting. We used to view the names of the planes that the enemies are using by tapping the match timer. Now, we no longer have to do that. This feature also applies to the tank campaign. The seventh tip is using your plane type correctly. Some plane excels in turn fighting and some plane excels in boom and zooms. For example, this Lightning, which excels in boom and zoom tactics. Planes like Lightning are best for chasing bombers because of their heavy armament and fast speed. It's really not recommended to use them against fighters in turn fighting. It's best to use them in bullying bombers in high altitudes. Similar planes with that playstyle, like Lightning, are the XP-55 and the German Dornier. The eighth tip for this video is having an altitude advantage over your enemy. The higher you are, the better. Also, higher altitude means more altitude to convert into speed. The high altitude is also a form of protection. See how I avoided the enemies. This tip is a must, especially for bombers against fighters. This tip also applies to the type of fighter I'm currently using, which is a boom and zoom fighter. This type of fighter is the nightmare of bombers. Its speed and heavy armament are the perfect recipes for anti-bomber activity by converting the altitude to speed through diving. The aircraft can reach speeds that makes it harder for low-altitude fighters to catch. See as how I use all I said in the destruction of this bomber, who for some reason is in a very low altitude. which shouldn't happen if you're a bomber. But he's likely going for the little boats in this particular map. Can't blame him. The tip number 9 is watching your back, especially if you're a bomber trying to bomb bases, since there is a feature in the game where if you don't look at the enemy, it won't show on your radar. See how a simple look from the back shows an enemy aircraft popping up in the radar. There's actually a dedicated crew skill that you can upgrade to detect enemies outside your view, which is threat recognition. The last tip for this video is actually simple. Whenever you're heavily damaged yet still on your plane, it's best to just leave the plane, but don't leave the match. So you can switch on another plane and make the snail more happy. This is all for this video. Happy grinding.